Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Kramer with MRC-TV, and today I'm speaking with Kristen Hawkins, who's the president of Students for Life. Kristen, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I just wanted to start by asking what your reaction was to the June Medical Services versus Russo Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously an incredibly disappointing decision that the Supreme Court handed down, and it's very frustrating from, a pro-life movement view that this is, it came down again to Chief Justice John Roberts, who many of us have believed has been pro-life, and actually he ruled in the pro-life minority when the Texas case, the law that was very similar to Louisiana law, was originally presented to the court, and the court, decided on that in 2016. The Hellerstedt decision. And at that point, Justice Roberts was actually in the pro-life minority, saying, no, it's not unreasonable that abortion facilities be upheld, have to hold the same surgical standards and safety standards for their patients. But, this week he decided to rule with the pro-abortion majority, and it really said, he came out and said he still agrees that the whole women's health decision in 2016, this issue of whether or not abortion facilities have to uphold, basic common sense safety standards, he believes the case was wrongly decided, but because of stare decisis, he has to go forward and rule with the pro-abortion majority. And it was crazy because it was kind of like he's a judicial robot of, well, I know what the right thing is, but then I'm unwilling to do that right thing.
Yeah, yeah. What impact do you think that this is going to have on abortion kind of in the future with other cases that will be coming up?
Well, I mean, this is absolutely, it will have an immediate case result, because you'll have states that maybe we're looking at passing similar regulations, trying to ensure that there's no more Kermit Gosnells, these, abortionists who operate substandard clinics. It's going to kind of prevent a lot of states from passing legislation, because when it starts getting debated at the state house, people say, well, look, there's two Supreme Court rulings that the Supreme Court has clearly said access to abortion trumps safety over abortion. So I think that's going to see an immediate effect. I do think there's going to be a lot of talk going into November, right, about what the Supreme Court's role is when it comes to abortion, and the importance of the Supreme Court and appointing Supreme Court justices. We've seen Planned Parenthood's own statement that, their new president has said this is a life or death, election. And I couldn't agree with her more. This literally is going to be a life or death election. We will decide as a nation whether or not we will have a president who will appoint pro-life justices that would vote to reverse Roe versus Wade, send the decision of abortion back to the states, or are we going to have a president who's going to appoint Supreme Court justices that continue to say that, 7 men, and now would be 7 men and women, will say that they're going to make all abortion laws for everyone in America. And by the way, they're going to make those abortion laws just as extreme as the abortion laws in North Korea and China.
Wow. I know that we've been getting a lot of feedback, and I think a lot of people are fed up with these disappointing decisions. What can they do, activist-wise?
Well, you could not give up. I think that's the main point is, don't let this setback stop you from becoming involved. We know our mission in the pro-life movement is to abolish abortion. That's a twofold goal of making abortion illegal and making abortion unthinkable. This is not a political issue. This is a human rights issue. One place we engage is in politics. But don't give up. There's so much you can do. Just this morning, I was on a call with our team, and a baby's life was saved last night because one student joined a training and started getting on chat rooms with pregnant women and offering support and services and just love and hope. You can save a life. You can save a life from your computer. You can save a life on the street, in your neighborhood, in front of the abortion facility. You can save a life by being that voice in your church to say, we're not going to condemn this unmarried woman who's pregnant. We're going to love and support her, right? There's so much you can do. Don't let this setback stop you from getting involved, or to stop you to, to change your mindset to say, well, see, nothing's ever going to change, because things do change. Every life you save, every family you impact changes the world. And I think if if you're one of those people that's kind of been dissuaded by politics in general, I think you can't stop. Like, we do get betrayed. We get excited, and then there's false promises to the pro-life movement. This happens in every struggle, but that's not something you can stop. You can't just bury your head in the sand and pretend like Washington, D.C. doesn't exist or that politics doesn't exist, because I can guarantee you the other side knows how to use politics, how to use Washington, D.C., knows how to use elections to their advantage. And we have to remain engaged and involved, and we can't give up.
Yeah, speaking of the other side, what is Students for Life plan with young people moving forward, trying to combat decisions like this in the culture?
Well, our campaign messaging going into the fall kind of semester, we chose this months ago. It is vote pro-life first. And that's really our message to our students across the country of, this is an election that you're going to have to be engaged in. And there's important elections to the U.S. President, Senate, House, State House, even local elected officials at every level. Vote pro-life first, because this is the greatest human rights, violation that's currently happening in our world. There is no greater thing that kills more people every day worldwide than abortion. If we saw the broken bodies of 2,600 Americans every night, every single night on the nightly news, if you saw those bodies laid out in the streets every night, every American would say, my God, we have to stop this. I have to vote for the persons who are going to promise to stop this slaughter. But because we don't see that, because abortion happens behind the closed doors of the Planned Parenthood, and we don't like to use the word abortion, we like to use other rhetoric that makes it sound easier, like choice or reproductive justice. Because we don't see that, we sort of, it loses the focus in our mind, and we get distracted by other issues. But I would say our message going forward into November is, this is the #1 issue that should motivate when you go to vote. And in fact, if a candidate isn't right on this issue, how can you trust them to be right on any other issue?
Yeah, some on the right are actually calling for future conservative Supreme Court nominees to affirm that abortion is a grave injustice. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we know what they're getting at, right? So Justice Kavanaugh, Justice Gorsuch's hearing, all the questioning you got from the pro-abortion Democrats in the Senate, that's really what they want, right? They're trying to get these candidates on record to say that they believe Roe versus Wade was a grave injustice, that it was an overstepping of the bounds of the court, which it absolutely was. In fact, even in 1973, liberal academics came out across America and said, this is bad case law. This is actually a case, this is the Supreme Court legislating. This is a Supreme Court legislating for abortionists, not even for women. It wasn't a pro-woman decision. It was a pro-abortionist decision. And so I am totally fine with candidates coming out and being very clear of saying, no, this was bad case law. Just like how Plessy versus Ferguson, just like how Dred Scott were bad decisions, the Supreme Court made a bad decision in Roe versus Wade and should be unafraid, and candidates for the court should be unafraid to say that.